I'd like to share with you something that I believe will make you proud and, I suspect, bring a warm smile to your face. It's about Israel, the vaccines, and a marvelous irony. Many of us have an image of Israel. I certainly do. A small country surrounded by countries that sadly wish to see every Jew in Israel destroyed. And yet, that is not fully accurate. Israel is at peace with Jordan and Egypt, and it now has diplomatic relations with the United Arab Emirates, with Bahrain, Sudan. Even Saudi Arabia is moving in that direction. It's rather remarkable. And while there are still countries that want to annihilate her, there is clearly a sense of relief and optimism among Israelis. Which brings me to the story of the COVID-19 vaccinations. Some weeks ago, when Israel got its initial vials of the vaccine, they reached out to arrange to inoculate those working in medicine on the front lines. Then, everybody over 60 years old was sent an email. Rabbi Daniel Gordis qualified for the vaccine and went to get the shot at a large sports arena in Jerusalem. We can all imagine the scene of thousands of Israelis converging at a sports center for a vaccine. Utter chaos, right? Well, actually not so. Rabbi Gordis described the scene as a hushed calm, even a sense of sanctity. This is what he wrote. We waited only a very few minutes, and as I looked at the eyes of other people waiting, their faces hidden behind their masks, I could tell that I was not the only one overwhelmed by a profound sense of gratitude for being a part of this country. None of us knew, and still don't, how exactly Israel managed to procure so many doses of a vaccine, developed in part by an American company, but still not easily obtainable in America. But we were deeply grateful that it had. The small army of nurses and medical techs injecting one person after another with utter efficiency was that old Israel. The Israel that knows how to come together when facing a mortal enemy. It's a different sort of enemy this time, but the battle still evoked that abiding belief in our national resilience. Early on, by January 10th, Israel remarkably had vaccinated 21% of its population, twice the rate of the second highest country, the UAE. The United Kingdom had vaccinated about 4%. And as of just a few days ago, according to Our World in Data, Israel has vaccinated 44% of its people, by far the highest in the world. To put it in perspective, the second highest percentage, also the Emirates, have vaccinated 26%. Then comes the UK at 10% and the United States around 6%. And keep in mind, Israel is a young country. The median age of an American is about 38 years old. In Israel, it's 29.9. So a very large percentage of Israelis who are eligible have already been vaccinated. And now, a rather remarkable and marvelous irony to this story. But for this, we need to go back, just momentarily, to the darkest time in Jewish history, the beginning of World War II. 50,000 Jews lived in Salonika, Greece. Some 90% would be murdered. Among the few survivors was a family named Borla. Years later, a son was born to the Borla family, Albert. He studied veterinary medicine and received a doctorate in reproductive biotechnology from the Aristotle University of Salonika Veterinary School. In 1995, he moved to the United States, married, and he and his wife had children. Dr. Bourla was later hired by a company that does research, initially becoming technical director of the company's animal health division. He then shifted his focus, however, to general medicine, where he became group president of that company's research on vaccines. He's been with the company for some 35 years and is currently its chairman and CEO. Chairman and CEO of Pfizer. Not too long ago, on live television, the very first injection of the vaccine in Israel was given to Prime Minister Netanyahu, who wanted to set an example for the nation. It was the Pfizer vaccine. So, the vaccine that will likely save the lives of countless Israelis and potentially millions around the world, including tens of thousands of Germans who have already been inoculated, was led by the son of Holocaust survivors from Salonika. This disease and the shutdown have caused unprecedented suffering to many millions. But at this moment, let's pause to reflect that this rather amazing country in the Middle East, if I may say, our Israel, has managed to vaccinate such a large swath of its citizens with a vaccination created by a company led by the son of Holocaust survivors from a country where only a fraction of its Jews survived. I hope you'll agree. There's something remarkable about all of this, which I am certain makes us proud, and equally certain brings a warm smile to our faces. Thank you.